Welcome, my friend. The storm rages outside, but here, in the quiet of this story, I invite you to find peace. Let the sound of the rain and the distant thunder guide you as you drift into a place of calm. This story is my gift to you, a gentle companion for a night of restful sleep. Relax, let go of the day, and let the story carry you into dreams. The rain hammered against the windows as 19-year-old Tom sat in his new apartment, unpacking the last of his boxes. The place was small and a little rundown, but it was cheap, and that's all that mattered to a broke college student. His neighbor, Mr. Grayson, had been friendly enough when Tom moved in, always waving, offering to help carry boxes, and making small talk about the weather. But there was something off about him. It started with the basement. Tom had noticed it on his first day. Mr. Grayson's house had a basement door that was always locked, and he seemed to spend an unusual amount of time down there. Just some old plumbing issues, Mr. Grayson had said when Tom asked about it. Nothing to worry about. But Tom couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. One night, as the rain poured down and thunder rumbled in the distance, Tom heard a noise coming from Mr. Grayson's house. It was faint at first, but unmistakable, a low, rhythmic thumping, like someone was pounding on a wall. He tried to ignore it, but the sound kept him awake for hours. The next morning, he saw Mr. Grayson outside, smiling like nothing had happened. "Hey," Tom said, walking over. "Did you hear that noise last night? Sounded like it was coming from your basement." Now I can continue the story. Go on to the story. Mr. Grayson's smile didn't waver. Noise? Oh, that was just the pipes. Old houses, you know how it is. Tom nodded, but he didn't believe him. That's when he decided to take a closer look. Tom waited until the next storm rolled in. The rain was heavy, and the thunder was loud enough to cover any noise he might make. He grabbed a flashlight and slipped out of his apartment, heading toward Mr. Grayson's house. The basement door was locked, but the window next to it was old and loose. Tom pried it open and climbed inside, his heart pounding. The basement was dark and damp, the air thick with the smell of mildew. The flashlight beam cut through the gloom, revealing shelves lined with jars of preserves and old tools. But what caught Tom's eye was the door at the far end of the room. It was small, almost like a closet door, but it had a heavy padlock on it. "What the hell?" Tom muttered, walking over to it. He tried the padlock, but it was solid. Whatever was behind that door, Mr. Grayson didn't want anyone seeing it. That's when he heard the noise again, the thumping. It was coming from behind the door. Tom pressed his ear against it, his heart racing. The thumping was rhythmic, like someone was pounding on the other side. "Hello?" he called out, his voice trembling. The thumping stopped. Tom waited, holding his breath, but there was no response, just silence. He was about to leave when he heard it, a faint whisper, coming from behind the door. "Help me." Tom stumbled back, his flashlight slipping from his hand. It hit the floor and rolled away, the beam flickering as it went. "Who's there?" he asked, his voice shaking. No answer, just the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from the other side of the door. Tom didn't wait to see what happened next. He grabbed his flashlight and climbed out of the basement, the rain soaking him as he ran back to his apartment. He didn't sleep that night. Tom couldn't stop thinking about the whisper. It haunted him, echoing in his mind every time he closed his eyes. "Help me." Who was behind that door? And what had Mr. Grayson done to them? He knew he had to do something, but he didn't know what. He thought about calling the police, but what would he say? "Hey, I broke into my neighbor's basement and heard a whisper." They'd laugh him out of the station. So he decided to keep an eye on Mr. Grayson. Over the next few days, Tom watched him like a hawk. Mr. Grayson was always outside, smiling that creepy smile of his. But Tom noticed something strange. Every night, around midnight, Go on. Go on to the story, okay? Mr. Grayson would go into his basement and stay there for hours. Tom started recording him, using his phone to take videos of him going in and out of the basement. He didn't know what he was looking for, but he knew there had to be something. Then one night, he heard the noise again. The thumping. It was louder this time. More frantic. Tom grabbed his phone and ran over to Mr. Grayson's house, his heart pounding. The basement window was still unlocked, so he climbed inside. The thumping was coming from behind the door, louder and more desperate than before. "Hello?" he called out, his voice trembling. The thumping stopped, and he heard the whisper again. "Help me." Tom walked over to the door, his hands shaking. "Who's there?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. No answer, just the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate. "I love the sound of thunder." "Okay, go on." Coming from the other side of the door. He reached out and touched the padlock, his fingers brushing against the cold metal. That's when he heard it, a voice low and guttural, coming from behind him. "What are you doing here?" Tom spun around, his heart pounding. Mr. Grayson was standing at the top of the stairs, his smile gone, his eyes cold and hard. "I heard a noise," Tom stammered, backing away from the door. Mr. Grayson walked down the stairs, his footsteps echoing in the small room. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice low and dangerous. Tom didn't wait to see what happened next. He ran, climbing out of the basement, and sprinting back to his apartment. He didn't sleep that night. He just sat in his living room, staring at the wall, his mind racing. What the hell was going on? Tom couldn't stay in his apartment any longer. The whispers, the thumping, the way Mr. Grayson had looked at him. It was too much. He had to know what was behind that door. He waited until the middle of the night. When the neighborhood was quiet and the streets were empty. He grabbed a flashlight and a crowbar from his garage and headed over to Mr. Grayson's house. The basement window was still unlocked. He climbed inside, his heart pounding in his chest. The basement was dark, the single bulb flickering weakly. The thumping was louder now, more frantic. It was coming from behind the door. "Hello?" Tom called out, his voice trembling. The thumping stopped, and he heard the whisper again. "Help me." Tom walked over to the door, his hands shaking as he gripped the crowbar. "I'm here," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm going to get you out." He wedged the crowbar into the padlock and pulled with all his strength. The lock snapped, and the door creaked open. Inside was a small room, barely big enough to stand in. The walls were covered in scratches, like someone had been trying to claw their way out. And in the corner, huddled on the floor, was a person. They were thin, their clothes ragged and dirty. Their face was hidden in the shadows, but Tom could see their eyes, wide and terrified. "Who are you?" Tom asked, his voice shaking. The person looked up, and Tom's blood ran cold. It was Mr. Grayson, but not the Mr. Grayson he knew. This man was younger, his face gaunt and pale, like he hadn't seen the sun in years. "Please," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Help me." Tom stumbled back, his mind racing. What's going on? Who are you?" The man shook his head, tears streaming down his face. He's not me. He's not me." That's when Tom heard it, a voice low and guttural, coming from behind him. "You shouldn't have come back." Tom spun around. And there he was, Mr. Grayson, or at least the man who looked like Mr. Grayson. But his smile was gone, replaced by a cold, hard stare. His eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, like two pinpricks of light. "What the hell are you?" Tom whispered, his voice trembling. The man, or whatever he was, tilted his head, like he was studying Tom. "I'm the real Mr. Grayson," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "And you've just made a very big mistake." Tom didn't wait to see what happened next. He grabbed the man in the corner and ran, dragging him out of the basement and into the night. They didn't stop until they reached the police station.